Hey guys, welcome to Did You Get That on Film? On this podcast, we deep dive into horror movies, and so it is full of explicit content as well as spoilers. Please be advised. Now, let's get to the show.
Okay. Are you going to say something?
Yeah, let's try this. Let's see. This is Did You Get That on Film? The world is burning. People are dying. There's no money. We hope you're alive. Check your pulse. We're here to talk.
Okay, great. Great. Just use that. Yeah, we'll just
Okay,
use
let's use
that.
that. And we'll use this part too. Where we agree that we're going to use that.
That's great. No, it's perfect. It fits beautifully because we're cooked. But
We have each other.
at least we have each other. With that being said, welcome back everybody. This is going to be our second Pulse Check episode. And remember, these are not replacing our full-length episodes. We have those coming out as well. But this is just little pulse checks so we can talk, have fun, discuss current events and things. So we are recording this on March 14th, 2025. It's a Friday. So hopefully we'll get it out very soon. But just so you guys know where we're at, because we're going to be referencing some dates in some things that we have coming up on our agenda. So the first thing I have on the agenda, there is a Terrifier 3 documentary titled Art Attack, The Dissection of Terrifier 3. And it is actually going to be streaming on...
Shutter?
No.
Ugh.
I know, I'm sorry. No, you have to pay for yet another subscription service.
Movie?
No. Fuck no. No. I'm never going to pay for movie. No, it's called Screambox. Have you ever heard of that?
No, I haven't.
Yeah, so I feel like, I don't know, am I elderly? I hadn't heard of it either, but yeah, Screambox is apparently another like horror movie streaming service. It's like,
Shutter.
yeah, it's like the little sister. It doesn't have nearly as much on it, but what it does have, I was like, it's pretty solid.
Like, what do they have?
So they have, right now, they have the Terrifier movies, obviously. They have this documentary coming out. And then they have Hatchet 1 and 2. They have Victor Crowley.
I think I Hatchet 2 under strong black characters.
That's, first of all, that's hilarious to me. I find that very, very, very funny.
That's very funny.
But I guess because Tony Todd is in it.
Right.
But they do have those. They have like a vampire collection. So they do have Nosferatu if you wanted to. I'm sorry. Let me be very clear. Not the new Nosferatu. They have like the original Nosferatu if you wanted to go watch that.
Shutter just dropped that one as well.
Look, you asked me what was on Screambox.
I'm just saying, like, if people are excited to see Nosferatu and you already have
Shudder,
I'm just letting you know it's on there.
Screambox has Deep Red and The Bird with the Crystal Plumage.
Those are both on Shutter as well.
Again, Screambox is doing its best.
Look, I'm just saying, if those titles sound good to you and you're like excited.
Yeah, no, we are not trying to push you to get Screambox because I think that it's kind of crazy to pay for like yet another subscription service, especially, no shade, but especially another one that's like just horror movies, because I feel like Shudder and Tubi have, I mean, everything that you could want to watch that you could reasonably expect to be streaming on lock. Shudder has a lot of shit for a really good price. And Tubi's price is even better.
Because it's free.
Yes. But on Screambox, so they also have, if you wanted to do like the little trial, they also have like Black Christmas, Slumber Party Massacre. They have Chopping Mall, The Stepfather, Audition.
Do they have Frankenhooker?
They don't have Frankenhooker.
Well, see, you're not even trying at this point.
I know. But yeah. I saw on Reddit somebody asked, they were like, streaming services, what's better, like in a service showdown, Shudder versus Screambox, and I felt like this summed it up pretty well. So someone said Shudder is like a treasure trove for horror enthusiasts with its diverse range of movies and original content, and then Screambox, it lacks in variety, but it nails the classics and throws in some exclusive titles that hit hard, so it all boils down to exactly what kind of horror buff you are. So this new art attack, The Dissection of Terrifier 3, is on Screenbox. So it is premiering today, so March 14th, 2025. And it is going to explore Art the Clown's cultural impact, and it's going to have exclusive interviews and behind the scene footage. They're going to have interviews with Damien Leone, with the producer, with some cast members. I'm not exactly sure who's in it. I haven't watched it yet. But it's essentially going to be providing a deep dive into how the Terrifier team put together the kills,
Okay.
the effects to get it all together. So I was like, it probably is going to be a fun watch.
Mm-hmm. Rob Zombie's 2007 Halloween. He has a documentary just like that. It's like a 4-hour documentary about the making of like those kind of movies. And I guess because they both have the special effects and they're kind of like independent films,
Mm-hmm.
probably have that same vibe.
Probably the people that made this documentary, the Art the Clown one. So it's called Cult Screenings UK. This same company also made documentaries like Pennywise, the story of it, and then Hollywood Dreams and Nightmares, the Robert Englund story. So those are both also streaming on Screenbox, and I was like, those are probably interesting. And then I don't know. So I think that Screambox is $6.99 per month, which is the same as Shudder.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure that they do a free trial at all, which is crazy in this day and age. But apparently, if you use code Screambox5, all caps, you can get your first 3 months for just $2.99. So if you did want to watch this documentary, you could. But yeah, so next thing on the agenda. So speaking of Terrifier 3, David Howard Thornton has a new movie coming out. So we got the trailer for Screamboat. This this movie is based on the 1928 Mickey Mouse animated short Steamboat Willie. So I don't know if you remember, but it entered the public domain on January 1st, 2024. And by extension, that version of Mickey Mouse, the Steamboat Willie version, has also entered the public domain. So now anybody can just use it. And of course, waiting in the wings, salivating at the mouth, was this man named Stephen Lamort. And he decided that he was going to turn Steamboat Willie into a horror character, a villain. And so he came up with this horror comedy, and it's going to be titled Screamboat, and it's going to star David Howard Thornton as the titular Steamboat Willie. I watched the trailer. I don't know. Did you see the trailer?
No, because I like to be surprised.
Well, I know, but is this a movie that you would even consider going to see? It is getting a theatrical release.
Yeah, I would go see it because
You see everything?
oh, I see everything. Because let me okay, we talk about the movies I've seen recently, but I would go see it because I would support it. But when I think of Steamboat Willie, I'm thinking about those like awful Winnie the Pooh movies.
Yeah, no, that's understandable because this Steamboat, it apparently a lot of childhood classic stories have entered the public domain. And so people have been like obviously just eating them up. I mean, coming up with all kinds of horror movies. I don't know why the horror genre could not wait to turn these wholesome stories into nightmare fuel, because we're also going to be getting Bambi the Reckoning, which I watched the trailer for, and it looks horrible but also fun at the same time. It looks like something that would come out for free, but it is something that's happening. There's also Peter Pan Neverland Nightmares is a thing.
They're doing a whole like universe.
The Pooverse. I, I didn't name it that. That's what they're calling it. Are we getting a Blood and Honey 3?
We're getting a standalone.
Tigger, right?
Yes,
Yes, that's what it is.
standalone. It's like
They couldn't wait.
Yeah, so doing that, and then after they do the Tigger, they're going to then loop it back and do a third Blood and Honey.
Okay.
But what's crazy is like, have you heard anyone like watch this with interest and not just like with morbid curiosity? Who is watching these films?
I don't really know. I couldn't really tell you because aren't we all just watching them out of morbid curiosity? Like, I don't really know anybody that's like, I can't wait to see Winnie the Pooh murder someone. Like, I don't know. That's not the vibe that I was getting. I thought we were all just kind of like,
I didn't really know people watch Winnie the Pooh. I always thought Winnie the Pooh was just something you wore.
no. Winnie
You
the
watch,
Pooh had movies.
but did you watch them?
I watched the cartoon when I was little.
I know it had a show and stuff, but people like usually like just wore that like a design you just have on.
Dante, that's so strange. I've never in my life considered Winnie the Pooh as like clothing.
When you were in like middle school and like early high school, did it have a phase where everybody just had like like used to wear cartoon stuff?
Well, Dante, that's different. So that was like the iceberg phase.
You didn't have a South Pole jet.
Let me stop you right
So
there.
the black ass, get your black. I'm about to tell you, because you didn't have a South Pole jumpsuit with a Tigger on it.
Didn't you say, wait, Dante, please, for the audience so they can experience this too. Please, can you please describe when you were fitted down in your South Pole, what did you tell your father?
Oh, I told I was real.
And your father was probably like, excuse me?
He was like, what does it even mean? I used to have, because that's what I'm trying to say. Like, wait, I don't remember people watching Winnie the Pooh, but I can remember having 2 South Pole jumpsuits. I had a powder blue one.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to laugh.
I had a powder blue one, and then I also had another South Pole jumpsuit. And this one had a hood. This one was navy.
Okay.
And it had Tigger on it. It was a Tigger and Eeyore, but they weren't like just like they had, they had South Pole on too.
No, Dante, I know exactly what you're talking about, and I can tell you right now that is a very unique experience that you had.
Okay.
I think that it was very unique to the time. I think that it is also quite unique to the culture. I don't think that everybody is going to be able to relate.
I wish I could still fit that. Because that's going to come back.
It probably will. Yeah, so Screamboat, the Steamboat Willie movie with David Howard Thornton, it is scheduled for a theatrical release. It's going to be a limited release, so it's going to be very much like Oddity. It'll be in that bitch for 2 weeks and then it's gone.
So when you see it, go see it.
Yeah, so when it comes out, you have to make it happen because it won't be in there long. But it is scheduled to come out soon, April 2nd. All right, so next thing on the agenda. So we got the Clown in a Cornfield trailer, which you did watch, right?
I saw it when I went to the movies. It was crazy.
Yeah.
It caught me off guard. It was so violent.
You actually saw it before I did. So Clown in a Cornfield, so during spooky months, we really like to go all out because obviously we watch our movies. So we have our movie every day. But additionally, because we both really like to read, we will try to pick a spooky book. We will kind of vote and come to a consensus on what horror fiction book we're going to read. So we didn't really read one this Halloween. I think we both just really had a lot going on, but we did go through a list. And one of the things on that list was Clown in a Cornfield. It looked really good. The first book, so it is a series of teen slasher novels. They are YA books, so that is something to remember. So it's by this author named Adam Cesar, and we were thinking about reading it for Spooky Month, but we were kind of a little bit turned off by the fact that it was a young adult book. And when we want to read horror fiction, we want people to be mutilated. we want, we want to be scared. We want to be sleeping with the lights on. And so we were like, well, I'm not really sure if this young adult book is going to do it for us. I was like, if people aren't getting their like fucking larynx ripped out, I don't know if I want to read it. But from that trailer, I'm like, damn, did we make a mistake? Because that was not giving tame violence.
I didn't know what it was until, at the end when it tells you the movie title. I was like, what is this? This is crazy. And then it was like Crown on the Cornfield, and I was like, oh, that's a young adult book.
Yeah, I watched the trailer once you told me about it. I was like, oh shit. I knew because of how big it got. I was like, I'm sure they're going to make this into a movie. I can already feel it. And you were like, I just watched this trailer. And I was like, oh shit. I wonder what it's like. It's a lot. No, it looks good. It looks gory. The premise of it is there is a teen girl. She just moved to a small quiet town. I think the town is going through a certain bit of strife, so there's some backstory there. But then there's a killer clown named Friendo who ends up essentially massacring a bunch of kids in this town. So this is where the Y part comes in because it's like a teen slasher. I put it back on my TBR list because I think I want to read it and I want to see the movie when it comes out.
Yes.
But the trailer got me like kind of pumped.
Right.
Yes, because the villain design Friendo is really good. I think he looks scary.
Me too. Did it remind you a little bit of Tim Curry's Pennywise?
It did remind me of that. And so I was wondering if they got like a little bit of inspiration from Pennywise. But yeah, so Friendo comes, he starts killing these teens in a cornfield. The movie premiered at South by Southwest just a few days ago, so on March 10th, and overall positive reviews, so I'm really happy about that. And then it's set for a theatrical release on May 9th of 2025. Okay, so moving on. So next thing on the agenda. So there is a potential Jennifer's Body 2 coming out. So we don't have a ton of information on this, but Amanda Seyfried, who is one of the stars of the original Jennifer's Body, she gave kind of a tiny little update regarding a potential sequel. So for anybody that doesn't remember, Jennifer's Body came out in 2009. So it stars Amanda Seyfried and Megan Fox. It is a teen kind of demonic possession movie. It was written by Diablo Cody, who also wrote movies like Juno, Lisa Frankenstein. So it definitely has that same feel, but this one was like her, I guess kind of in the same vein as like Lisa Frankenstein. It was like her foray into like horror. I would say it was moderately successful. So the movie had a $16 million budget. It made about $31 million. So it definitely was not a flop by any means, but it did suffer from some really, really, really poor marketing because I don't know if you remember in 2009, Megan Fox was like,
that girl.
Yes, she was like the hottest thing on planet Earth. And every movie that she was in, I mean, Transformers was about fucking robots, but in the trailers, you saw more of Megan Fox's body than you saw of like Optimus Prime. Like, they were really pushing this young girl out there as like a sex symbol. I'm sure that Diablo Cody was not involved in this decision, but they kind of did the same thing with Jennifer's Body. They were really, really pushing Megan Fox's sexuality, and the marketing kind of geared it towards a younger male audience when this movie is not for the younger male audience. It's actually probably the antithesis of what the younger male audience would want to see because it's definitely more of a female empowerment movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, because she's killing boys. So it just kind of didn't do well because the people that would like it didn't really want to go see it. I think if it came out now,
Oh,
it'd be huge.
I agree.
But yes, so Amanda Seyfried, so she was doing an interview with Bloody Disgusting while she was promoting one of her new movies. And they asked her if they were going to make a Jennifer's Body 2. And she said, quote, "I think we're making another one. I didn't confirm it. I said I think." So she's being very coy about it. But it's not really surprising that they would be in the talks to make a second movie, because Diablo Cody herself has talked a lot about wanting to make a sequel. Like, she's expressed a lot of desire to make a sequel. She's just said that she needs to find people who really care about the project. So I'm sure that she wants to put it in the right hands, because I think it's easy for production companies to overly sexualize women in movies, and that's not really what this movie is
It's about.
about. Yeah, so she wants to find people that really care, and she wants to find people that can put funding behind the project. Okay, so next thing on the agenda, Anaconda. So the new Anaconda remake, and I feel kind of weird calling it a remake, but that is what it's being called out there in the ether. So it actually just finished filming this month. The filming has wrapped. And if you guys remember, so Anaconda, 1997 kind of horror thriller adventure type movie. It starred Ice Cube and Jennifer Lopez, and the way that the film works out is, so they're a kind of a documentary crew. They're traveling into the jungles in South America because they are in search of a lost tribe of indigenous people. But on their way, they encounter John Voight, unfortunately, and they invite him onto their voyage. Things go downhill from there. Chaos ensues. He leads them straight to the villain, the Anaconda, who was not a villain. He was literally just a snake in his habitat.
The anaconda, like the indigenous people, were minding their business.
Minding their own fucking business. And John Voight brought them all there. And so, of course, the Anaconda was like, "Well, I'm going to kill you."
The real villain is the documentary crew bothering the indigenous people of the South American rainforest.
No.
When we do our next post, put that. Because why are they bothering these people?
Because why are y'all out there in the first place?
These people are completely closed off from all type of Western society because they want to be left alone.
Literally, I don't know if you remember. Do you remember they built a fucking wall? There's a wall that impedes their travels, and John Voight's like, "Let's blow it up."
Yeah.
This is the issue. Don't go into the fucking rainforest bothering indigenous people and the wildlife.
The snakes out there this big? Yes, when they're left alone, they grow.
Exactly. But yes, so that's the 1997 original. So the remake is going to be, instead of like a horror, adventure, thriller type movie, it's going to be a meta comedy. So it's going to star Paul Rudd, Jack Black, Steve Zahn, Thandaway Newton, and some others. And the premise of the movie is going to be a group of friends are going through this like midlife crisis. So they decide that they're going to remake a favorite movie from their youth, but they encounter unexpected events when they enter the jungle. There isn't really a ton out there on this movie. That is the little blurb that I read online when I was researching for it. That seems to be like the gist of the premise of the movie. It seems like they are going to be going out recreating Anaconda, and they're going to run into anacondas, really. I've also seen it stated in a couple of places, but also couldn't confirm. When they say a group of friends that's going through this midlife crisis, I don't know if this like aging group of friends are supposed to actually be the actors playing themselves. I wouldn't be surprised if that is the case, and let me tell you why. It's a meta comedy, so that was like the first tip off. Additionally, the same people that are writing this Anaconda remake are also the people behind the Nicolas Cage film, The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent.
Which was great.
Yeah, and so Tom Gormican and Kevin Etten, and in that movie, if you guys haven't seen it, Nicolas Cage is actually playing
Nicolas Cage.
Yeah, it's Nicolas Cage, and it's like a fictionalized version of him, but Nicolas Cage is playing Nicolas Cage. And so people are, I think, kind of expecting that Paul Rudd and Jack Black will be playing themselves in Anaconda. I'm not entirely sure. But yes, it is out there. It is finished filming. It's set to be released on Christmas Day this year, 2025. How do you how do you feel about that?
Well, I think it's going to be weird I'm not excited about it, but I did like that Nicolas Cage movie, so this will make me happier when I have to go see it.
Yeah. So I remember when we were talking about this,
We were like, what the freak?
yeah, we were not enthusiastic about it at all.
Not even a little bit.
But I'm going to be honest, this is one that I kind of feel the more that I read about it and the more that I read about what the premise is supposed to be, that's why I was saying I'm not necessarily sure that you can call this a remake because I'm not really sure that that's what this is. And I think that once you take away the word remake, I'm a little bit more at peace with that.
Right.
It's not actually trying to be Anaconda. Does that make sense?
Because when you first heard it and you heard Paul Rudd, Jet Black, Anaconda remake, you thought Jumanji with The Rock.
Yes, Dante, that is exactly what I thought. Ugh.
We was letting people do too much. Too much.
But I'm excited. I do really like Paul Rudd. I like Jack Black. I think that they're funny. Steve Zahn's funny. So we'll see. I'm gonna give it a chance. So it's coming out Christmas Day 2025.
We should go see it together.
Hopefully we can see it together in a new state. But yeah, so next thing on the agenda, I Know What You Did Last Summer. So they are making another installment of I Know What You Did Last Summer. As far as I can tell, it has officially finished filming. So yesterday, March 13th, Jennifer Love Hewitt posted a short video to her Instagram account with the film slate closing, like the cut with the movie's title. It's just I Know What You Did Last Summer in the font that we all know, with the caption saying, Julie James, it was good to see you again. Jennifer Caton Robinson, who will be directing the sequel, you crushed it.
I Know What You Did Last Summer is a poser. What do you mean?
Please elaborate.
Okay, you know how like we were popular? like we were popular. You know, like people we are popular, and then they have like people who are like not popular. They were like on the fringe. They kind of just knew some people, but then when they go back and tell their heyday stories, they've created this mindset where they were like uber popular.
Yeah.
That's I Know What You Did Last Summer. I Know What You Did Last Summer is Screech.
That's
Is it not?
okay.
You were there because why not?
I think that you're being a little bit unfair. So let me tell you why. So the movie had a $17 million budget and it made $125.3 million at the box office. So it's not that people did not go see that movie because they definitely did see it. I understand what you mean. So I Know What You Did Last Summer. You just don't like the movie.
I don't dislike the movie. Let's be clear. I like the first one a little bit more than the second one.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't have this mindset that these movies were huge. When they were just like popular because they came out at a time where this was
The popular
kind of movies to make.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
No, yeah, totally.
You know, you were there because we were all there, but you wasn't running the show. You was never that girl.
Yes.
That's all I'm saying.
No, I would definitely be lying if I said that I disagree with you. I understand completely what you mean. It's like they're making like a fourth sequel to a movie that kind of started to I love the second one. Love it. But if you look at ratings, if you look at box office earnings, they started to fall off immediately.
Right.
Whereas a movie like Scream got more and more popular. It had that like lull, I think, a little bit in popularity at the time for Scream 3, since it has gotten a lot more popular.
Because Scream series had 4 seasons.
Yeah, the Scream series was really, really big. Scream 4 was huge when it came out. Scream 5 was huge. It broke records. So I understand what you're saying. The movies feel like, when they make scary episodes of your favorite teen TV shows? Like my favorite, I don't know if you remember when they did like a Scream Boy Meets World episode. It almost feels like that kind of like a Halloween episode of like Dawson's Creek. Like, doesn't it kind of give that vibe sometimes?
Yeah, I feel like I know she did that summer, even though I think we talked about it on our episode. But I've always felt like I know she did last summer feels even older than like Scream. It feels like it feels like it came out in the first half of the 90s.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. And I don't know, it's tough because it also is like it's not a great story. It just kind of like is a story because once you sit down and you start dissecting it, I think that that movie is so well remembered and looked at so fondly now when you look back on it because of the cast. I think it's riding on the coattails of how strong that cast
Guess
was.
was.
Specifically, we have to give props where props are fucking due. Sarah Michelle Gellar was carrying that fucking movie on her back.
Her petite, buffy back.
Yes, her lean, strong Slayer back.
Vampire Slayer back.
Exactly. And when people talk about those movies, people talk about Sarah Michelle Gellar and think about how strong that character was to not be the final girl. And people love her chase scene. People still to this day don't think she should have died. Sarah Michelle Gellar realistically was carrying the 90s on her back. Sarah Michelle Gellar was working in the 90s. And so I think that if that movie had a weaker cast, I don't think that it would be remembered nearly as fondly because when you sit down and you really start breaking down the movie, like breaking down the writing and the plot and all that, the first one is stronger than the second one by far, even though I think the second one is more fun.
The second one is definitely not as doesn't take itself as serious.
No.
The first one is very serious.
Yeah. It tries to be very, very serious.
It's a mystery.
Yes. But it starts to really break down in logic in a lot of places because you find yourself not really understanding the motive of this villain. Why are you doing this? That doesn't quite make sense. You're mad at them because they hit you, but you just killed somebody. That doesn't make sense. And then by the time you get to the second movie, it really doesn't make sense because it's like, damn, you're going really, really hard for something and you were in the wrong.
You got away with it.
Yeah, you got what the fuck are we talking about? You got away with murder because they hit you. They didn't kill you. They threw you in the water, but you were moving kind of crazy. Like you just killed somebody and then you walked across a desolate road in the middle of the night.
But then what's also real crazy about that, because we are rambling, but let me say this. Then the gag is you killed him. They thought the guy that you killed, they thought they killed him. So even if it ever came out, they would have, especially Julie was about to crack at any moment.
She would have been like, "We killed David Egan."
You would have gotten away with it. Debbie Salt would have never.
No, would have never found herself in this situation.
She'd been like, great. Whew, my white suit is crisp.
Yeah. But yeah, so it's like to be on the fifth installment of this movie.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I agree. And it's like the movie is good, but it's like, does it have the power to make in this day and age another installment? You know, making installments in the 80s was nothing. It was nothing to just put out Freddy 5. But now, come on, like let's be real. It's 2025 and I don't think even with things like Urban Legends, I don't think anybody wants an Urban Legends 3 in 2025. It's not strong enough.
It's 2025. We are over 25 years removed from these movies coming out. And putting the series out and it got canceled is showing you that there's really not an audience for this IP. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's an excellent point.
So you bring back Julie James and Ray, but it's like, okay, people weren't really excited for Julie James and Ray in the heyday of this. So
Because the second one didn't do well. The second one has abysmal ratings.
people went to see the second one at the time because of Brandy, because at that time Brandy was a huge pop star with the music and the show.
Yeah.
But I'm not saying it's not gonna make any money, but I just don't see the point. And I guess it's just like it's like another sequel. And it's so much time has passed. 98 to 2025 is what, 27 years?
No, it's an insane amount of time. But this is what they're kind of doing. Okay. Because we're going to start talking about it in a minute. Surprise, surprise. We're going to talk about Scream 7. But the difference between I Know What You Did Last Summer being on its 4th installment and Scream being on its 7th installment is that Scream has come out at least a little bit more consistently than I Know What You Did Last Summer. Every Scream movie got a theatrical release. The stars came back for those movies. There were no like direct to video, which is what the third one in this series was. I'll Always Know What You Did Last Summer was a direct to video. It didn't have any of the returning cast. People didn't want to see that. But you have Scream 4, which came out in 2011. So that it has that like boost for a new generation. Gen Z, that was like the Scream that was in theaters for them. So you had the millennials going to see it. You had the Gen Z going to see their like first Scream horror movie, like we did when we saw Scream. We were watching it. We were supposed to be on like pay per view or something. It's like you introduced a new generation into that. I don't have a pulse on Gen Z of if they're going to want to see this movie. Gen Z loves Scream 4. Scream 4 is a wildly popular Scream movie, despite how we feel about it. But I think that that really helped having that little anchor there because once they moved on to Scream 5, they already had an audience for it. You know what I mean? It wasn't just like us.
Right. I agree.
Yeah, they weren't just like relying on us millennials to like go see it. Like, hopefully, this audience is still waiting for it. No, it's like millennials will go and Gen Z will go, and it'll be popular. And it was huge. It was a huge movie, and they used that as the opportunity to bring in young characters. So they had the characters that we know, which was great because we want to see those characters. Where are they now? But then they also, because they already had this Gen Z audience, they brought in Gen Z actors too.
Jenna Ortega, who was that? I was like, I don't know this.
I didn't know either, but then now Amber Freeman, like Mikey Madison, Melissa Barrera, we were like, we don't know who these people are at all.
But now we go hard for them.
Exactly.
I go hard for Melissa. I go hard for Mikey.
But that's because they did a good job of bridging the gap. There's a bridge movie in between, and then when you came out with the 2020s versions of these sequels, you already had the Gen Z base, you had the millennial base, and now you're putting them all in one movie that people want to see.
Right.
From 1998, Gen Z wasn't even alive.
Right.
It's a whole generation of people that have maybe possibly never even seen these movies. I know that I'm talking in like absolutes, like blanket statements. I know that there's a lot of horror fans out there, but like none of those movies were in theaters when Gen Z were spending their money to go watch movies in theaters. And I don't know if the desire is there from millennials. Like, I think it might be like, well, I might go see it. I might not. I'll stream it. That's how I'm feeling about it. I don't know for sure that I'm going to go see it in theaters. Something has to be really drawing me to the theaters to go see it. But who knows? I am going to wait for a trailer to come out. And I don't know. I might get hyped for it then. We'll see. But as far as casting updates, so Jennifer Love Hewitt is definitely returning as Julie James, and Freddie Prinze Jr. is definitely returning as Ray Bronson. In addition to those characters, the movie is going to be a little bit more like Scream 5 in that they are going to be introducing some younger characters to kind of set up, I guess, the franchise for a new generation. So we have Madeline Klein, Chase Sue Wonders, Sarah Pigeon, Tyreek Withers, and Austin Nichols. Now, I'm going to be very honest. I do not know these young actors. I do know that Chase Sue Wonders was in Bodies, 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 but that is the extent of my knowledge. But hopefully, if it's anything like Scream 5, we'll get some really talented actors in there. But yeah. So I guess we'll just have to see how it goes.
So let us know if you're gonna see it, but that's I don't see it. I don't see it for it. The only thing I can think of is if there's a Jenna Ortega in that mix, where it's like maybe we just don't know that one of these people is extremely popular.
Yeah,
and that might be the draw.
Yeah. But yeah, so if anybody is interested in that, it will be coming out very soon. It's going to be released July 18th, 2025. So a summer horror.
We'll see.
That's all that we can say. We'll see.
For real. Like, we'll see what happens with it. What else you got for us?
Well, so next thing on the agenda, the Oscars outcomes. If you remember our last pulse check, we were talking about the Oscars and how it was kind of making history because it had a lot of horror nominations. So The Substance was nominated for a lot of awards. Nosferatu was nominated for 4 awards. Alien Romulus was nominated for an award. A lot of people were really kind of wondering who was going to win Best Actress because Demi Moore had won a lot of things like the Golden Globe, like leading up to the Oscars, but then Mikey Madsen won the BAFTA and she was like also winning too. So there was a lot of talks about who's going to win Best Actress, was going to be Best Movie, and I think a lot of people were kind of like vying for The Substance to win Best Movie. Just as a horror movie, it would have been really big because, like we said last time, there's only been like 7 nominations, 1 winner thus far. But the results were so congratulations. So Mikey Madison did win Best Actress. So this was the 97th Academy Awards, and she won for her role in Anora, becoming one of the youngest Best Actress winners in the Oscars almost 100-year history at the age of 25.
Amazing.
That was really huge. So big congratulations to her. As we remember, Mikey Madison is
Amber Freeman.
yes, Amber Freeman. So she's a Ghostface. So we had a Ghostface winner.
That is wild.
Yeah. So Anora actually kind of raked up awards that night. So Anora also won for Best Picture, so beating out The Substance and others. Wicked. It also won Best Writing for Original Screenplay. Sean Baker, who directed Anora, also won for Best Directing. The Substance did win one award that it was nominated for, so it won award for Best Makeup and Hairstyling. And then Alien, Romulus, and Nosferatu ultimately did not end up winning any awards that night. But it was amazing for them to just get nominated. So
Right.
congratulations to everyone on their nominations. Congratulations to all the winners, and extra congratulations to Mikey Madison.
Yeah.
So, moving on, the last point on our agenda before we get to Dante's the movie corner is we're talking about Scream 7 again. I'm sorry. I didn't want to talk about it again. I didn't think that we would be here again so soon, but
damn, y'all.
yeah, no, we have some updates. So, Patrick Dempsey did finally speak about why he will not be in Scream 7. And as we kind of suspected, he was in talks of coming back as Mark because it was definitely supposed to be Mark. But he said that due to scheduling conflicts, it just didn't work out. He didn't elaborate on that. I don't know if he is working on other things because we know that Thanksgiving 2 is supposed to be coming out soon. Or one thing is that he does live in LA and LA was just ravaged by wildfires. So that's a lot going on. And Scream 7 has already started production. So it started kind of while all of this is happening. So it could be that too. I've seen people kind of speculate that. But yeah, so Patrick Dempsey did say that he's for sure not coming back, and that was his reason. So, casting update. Earlier this month, earlier in March, it was announced that David Arquette, who plays Deputy Dewey Riley, who was brutally and horrifically murdered,
By Oscar winner Mikey Madison.
yes, in Scream 5, he is now set to return also. And I was like, okay, I don't know what to think about that. I don't know how to feel. But Dante, I'm going to do this. And I know that we've been talking for a long time, but I feel like this needs to be done because
It's time.
I think that we all need to understand what this cast is so far. Okay. So I'm going to read you the cast. So these are all named people. Bear with me because this is just to give you an idea of how bloated this cast has gotten. Okay, so we have Nev Campbell, Courtney Cox, Jasmine Savoy Brown, Mason Gooding, Isabel May, Asa German, McKenna Grace, Sam Reckner, Mark Consuelos, Scott Foley, Celeste O'Connor, Ethan Embry, Anna Camp, Joel McHale, Matthew Lillard, Skeet Ulrich, Amy Louise Pemberton, Timothy Simmons, Victor Turpin, David Arquette.
23.
Dante.
Well, is it that meta AI theory people are having?
That thought crossed my mind too.
I don't think it's that. No, I think it's just some foolishness.
Dante, yeah. So I was like, okay. I was like, Dante, I was like, let me wrap my fucking brain around this. Scott Foley actually had a statement. So he was doing an interview and they asked him about Scream 7. And so he said, yeah, my character 25 years ago, I was the killer in Scream 3. He was brutally taken down and killed. Now I'm back in Scream 7 and I'm not sure how it's going to work. And I was like, we're not either. I'm like, at this stage, Dante, I think he just gave that interview like a day ago. So if he is still, Dante, they started filming the movie like a month ago. If Scott Foley is still like, I don't actually know what I'm doing, then I was like, either they don't know what he's doing either, and they're just like kind of collecting ghost faces like fucking Pokemon cards, or it has to be some very, very, very small part of the movie, right? Because they've been filming for at least a month at this point. And if Scott Foley is still in the dark about just like if he's even involved at all, is it going to be hallucinations? Are they recreating flashbacks? Like, I don't know. But at this point, and I mean this with all the respect in the world, there isn't enough CGI. Like, I don't think that this movie has a CGI budget big enough to make me believe that Deputy Dewey Riley is the same age that he was in Scream 1, because David Arquette has aged tons. David Arquette has aged. So if you're trying to do the flashback,
shit, David aged, Skeet Ulrich aged, Matthew Lillard aged.
They've all aged a lot, and I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with that. I've aged a lot. But my thing is, because we had the theory, like, oh, they're going to maybe create a flashback, or they're maybe going to be, like, hallucinations. And we're not trying to shit on him at all, but we talked about it last time. Skeet Ulrich does not look 18 in Scream 5. I'm sorry. No, I'm not sorry.
I'm not sorry either, because he looked old.
Don't bring me that shit in Scream 7. Don't try to pass off 50-year-old men as teenagers or 24-year-olds, because I'm going to be hot. So now that just leaves the like, okay, what are we doing here? Is it just going to be voices? I don't know. Do you have any more theories? Because I'm starting to not get excited to see this movie.
Oh, yeah. Jinx.
Jinx, you owe me a soda.
I don't know what's it going to be. And if Scott Foley is saying, I don't know, maybe he's lying. Mm-hmm. Maybe he's trying to throw us off. I am not excited about this movie.
I'm not excited because I feel like what they're doing, like them all being in it is one thing. And it is a fat fucking bloated carcass of a cast at this point, and I hate that shit. But I'm supposed to care about all of these people. I'm already mentally checked out. But beyond that, what's pissing me off is not necessarily the fact that they're coming back in some way. What's making me not excited about the movie is the fact that all of this is publicity. And it's the fact that you feel like you have to kind of like pull all these publicity stunts by every week pulling another dead character out of a hat to get us like excited to see the movie. It just is kind of making me feel like you don't even have confidence in the movie yourself. I don't know if you don't think that Neve Campbell has the star power. I don't know if you think that you sunk the franchise because you lost your two leads from your last two movies, which, you know,
you did on your own accord.
Yeah, I mean that just is what it is. It just feels really cheap.
And it's just like, even if you didn't have all these dead characters, it's like, okay, now you have the Sydney Gale people you have to watch. Then you have to watch the twins, which is their own thing. And then you got these new people. It's too much.
Yeah.
It's worse than with Scream 4. And Scream 4 had a lot of characters.
Yes. And those were a lot of the reasons that I didn't really like Scream 4. I just felt like it was a lot of characters. They were doing a lot. I don't know. It's hard to follow that many characters.
To care.
and to actually care about them.
I don't know what this is going to be. That's all I can say. I have no idea what this is going to be, and I'm not excited to figure it out. So the movie comes out February of next year, so we'll see.
Yeah, I guess we shall see. But yes, okay, so those are the Scream 7 updates. I'm sure that we'll have more on the next Pulse Check. We're a little less than a year out from this movie, so a lot of things can happen between now and then.
Right.
So we'll see. But now we've come to the end, and now we're gonna turn over to Dante so that he can tell us, what have you seen at the movies lately? Because I know that you have. And what did you think?
I have been to the movies a lot. Okay, so as I said earlier, I bought a pass. It was an Oscar pass, so I got to see all 10 of the Best Picture nominated films. So I had already seen The Brutalist, I had already seen The Substance, I had already seen The Nora. So I had 7 movies to see. The 7 movies to see were Conclave, Amelia Perez, Nickel Boys, A Complete Unknown, I'm Still Here, Wicked, and Doom 2. So I got to see all of those. They were all great. I also saw Nora another time because again, I can't talk about it enough. It's so good. You haven't seen it, go see it. But they were all great. But I won't bore you with those reviews. Check out my letterbox. But I did see 4 movies that have come out for release. So I saw The Monkey, which was Oscar Perkins' new movie based on the Stephen King short story. I thought it was great. Horror comedy done very well. Very funny, very graphic kills, but hilarious. So much fun. So much fun. I also saw Mickey 17,
Okay.
which isn't a horror movie, but it is the follow up to the director of Parasite, which is also an Oscar winning film, also an Oscar winning neon film like Nora. And I like Mickey 17. That one's based on the book. I didn't know that going in,
I didn't know that either.
but it's based on a book called Mickey 7. This was a really cool movie. I thought it was great. I also saw Last Breath, which was based on a true story. That one was with Willie Harrelson and Simon Yu about the deep sea divers. It was fun. It wasn't a perfect storm, which is a phenomenal movie, but it was good.
Mm.
But what I want to talk to you guys about is another horror movie I saw. I think it went completely under the radar. It was the weirdest shit I've ever seen in my life. It's called The Rule of Jenny Penn.
The Rule of Jenny Penn? I don't even think I heard of that. It was in theaters?
Yes! This movie is so weird. So it has, John Lithgow. I think you know who that is.
Mm.
So this is almost like a What Happened to Baby Jane movie. It's 2 elderly people. They're in a nursing home. One is a menace. And Jenny Penn is a doll, actually. It's a puppet that he carries, John Lithgow's character. This movie was so damn weird.
Okay.
He was tormenting all of the people in the nursing home.
So it's a psychological horror film.
Yes. There were parts of it where the doll then becomes larger than life and takes over the screen. There are scenes where Jenny Penn is being forced into older people's face, and John Lithgow's character is forcing people to lick Jenny Penn's asshole.
Okay.
It's strange. It's not bad, but it's weird. And I don't know if I would have imagined it getting a theatrical release.
It looks like it only made a little bit over $250,000 at the box office. So I'm almost positive that our listeners did not see it.
$200,000. Look, literally, I was the only person in the theater.
I'm not surprised. That's really surprising that it got a theatrical release. Is it even still in theaters? I'm gonna say no.
I doubt it.
That's crazy.
When we say I'll go see anything, I literally will go see anything. And I'll post them on my letterbox like I always do. Just gonna give it a rating on there. But The Rule of Jenny Penn was literally the weirdest movie I've ever seen in my life.
Okay.
But if you have a chance to see The Monkey in theaters, go see it. Because it was great.
Yeah, I've only heard really great things. But yes, so thank you. And if you guys want to follow Dante on Letterbox, we're gonna link him in the episode announcement, the description, wherever you listen to the podcast, and on the social media. And it's his letterbox is maybe tomorrow.
Yeah, maybe tomorrow.
So I think that is going to be it for us for this time, guys. We will see you again soon with another pulse check. And then, of course, we have some episodes, the movie reviews coming out soon, too. So you'll be able to catch those. And yeah. Did you want to tell them about the social media?
Okay. We love to hear from you guys. Please follow us on Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook with the handle Did You Get That on Film? You can also email us at didyougеттhatonfilm@gmail.com. For our Spotify and Apple Podcast listeners, leave us a review as well as a rating. Reviews are the best way to support the podcast and help it reach a further audience.
That sounds great. And that's it for this week. We hope to be back next week with a brand new episode. So until then,
Bye!